Good. My virtual background is still loading, it tells me. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe I've got a bad connection today. There I am. How you doing? Welcome aboard. Happy Thursday to you, wherever you may be in God's green garden on this Thursday. It is the 17th of Feb, which means we're on the other side. We're on the downhill slope of February. No pun intended to the Winter Olympics or the Olympic Winter Games, as they're now called. Probably have been for a while. Interesting week, yeah. Interesting day as well. I believe we've had some grenades and mortars and all sorts of things going on in, no, it wasn't Russia, Ukraine. Don't know the details. I'm sure Ash is all over that. When he joins us, he'll tell me what the heck went on earlier today. That forced, and very, very interesting, actually, not a surprise, but very interesting. And I think we can actually deduce a few things from what happened. The market went into safe haven mode instantly, of course, when I'd heard that. But it appears it isn't that significant, and the market's just pretty much gone back to where it was before it happened. We will discuss that, I'm sure, and other things as we progress through the show. Let me start by having a look at pound versus US dollar. And am I sharing? I think I'm sharing. It says I am. I must have a slow connection. Okay, so are we going to trade a breakout today is the question. I think if we were looking at that little area there, that may be possible, but we're not. We're looking at this area here. So if I adjust, and you can see I haven't adjusted that since Monday, we're pretty much still inside that range. In fact, Monday a week ago, I haven't adjusted since then, and we're pretty much still inside that range. The range today is represented by 136 on the high side, 135.25 on the low side. Problem trading short would be the monthly pivot. Problem trading long would be this immediate high, and that one there, which would not give you one-to-one or even close to it. So it's a no again for me for the pound US dollar breakout trade. Wow, where do I begin on this Thursday with, I suppose we'll begin with the trade that we took in this morning, pardon me, in my preview. And there was a bunch of things you could have traded today, frankly. And I chose Euro Yen. Euro Yen because you can clearly see the range that we're in. We had bounced off the top of that range. We were looking for a what? Everybody screams into the microphone, a lower high. You got it. And greetings, Paul P. And that exactly is what was potentially delivered, may not yet be, a lower high with a nice rejection of the weekly pivot. So that was just an automatic one for me. The reason I chose this one over a couple of the others was that there was plenty of room to take profit before we ran into any support. Now, I've got to say I was surprised when I came to the charts to see that this had actually gone and hit TP1 and then retraced. No surprise to see that it had gone, given that when I found out why. But it is interesting that it has come straight back to where it began its journey. And that's where we find ourselves currently. So what does that tell me? It tells me two things, really. It tells me, number one, that the market will certainly react if there's anything fired out of anything over in that area. But the other thing that it tells me is that if nothing does happen in the border situation of Ukraine, then, g'day, John, then I would anticipate that this ain't going short anytime soon. That's the other thing that it tells me. So kind of, how my brain works logically and generally in reverse to where it should be going. That's how I think. And if X doesn't happen, then I suggest that X reverse or upset. Therefore, I'm now loath to be going short against the yen. Pardon me, because that there is a risk appetite around, and it's only I believe the fear of what may happen that's holding these markets down a little bit. So great candle. I'd be very disappointed if we don't get money out of this. Well, obviously we're trading for free, but I would like to get some money out of this one. We'll see. Anyway, that is euro yen. The other choices were pretty clear as well. Pound Swiss double top, a little bit of a sell-off, then a potential lower high, similar to euro yen, and that would easily have been able to be traded below that candle, stop loss above it. At this stage, I'm pretty pleased I chose euro yen rather than pound Swissy, because that would be in drawdown at the moment. A couple of others. Euro Swissy was another obvious choice. Again, back inside that broadening pattern, gave us a double top in the meantime, sell off, potential lower high. Again, very, very similar trade to the one we're in. Naturally, we've got two risk-off currencies, yen and the Swissy, that we're trading against. This one's got broader appeal because of what I mentioned, well, I don't know, what, a month ago or something like this, when we noticed that price had made its way back to the 2015 close after that incredible decoupling, if you like, of this particular pair. That's why that level was so important and virtually impossible, I thought, that we would go straight through that level. It's still very much the case. We have rallied off that level. We put in a double top. We put in a massive.
Sorry to interrupt, mate.
Oh, hello, mate.
Hello, buddy. I think there's going to be a trade short on the FTSE.
Okay. So you better take it before you lose your voice by the sound of it.
Yeah. It's pretty it's pretty tight at the minute. Let me see. This is what we want here. I should give
rum, honey, garlic, and lemon.
And probably not so many late nights, I think would probably help. So I'm liking this. I think, can you see my screen here, my charts?
I can, mate. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm looking to kind of look at the short here. I have gone into one short already, but I'm looking to get short again here, maybe somewhere along this level. So probably about another 5 to 7 pip push to the upside, and I'm looking to get short. I thought it was going to get quite keen, so we might have the short on. Now, if that wasn't, and I'll show you the targets as well. Lots of pivots around here. What you're saying about the Ukraine situation is, it's an evident reason, every reason to get short around here. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can get in again here. I might even have to set a target, 54s. Yeah, it might be one of those that doesn't quite get us in just when we need it. But I might just have to tell you the trade and then just leave everybody to it, because I'm not sure whether it's going to be that simple to try and do this manually while being on. We'll see. But you can see the area anyway. This area here between 75.60 on the futures to 75.55. There's targets down at this area here. That's where I've got my first target, around about 75.10. But there's pivots in the way. So I think we're just going to stay in this range right now. And looks like we've got this wide pattern going on. So every chance we come right down the bottom here. But I think maybe, let's see if we can take it down here at least.
Mate, what's sorry, I thought you'd done.
No, yeah, it's okay, mate. I am. We might be waiting a little while, is the only thing.
So what's the story? Few grenades, few mortars discharged by Ukraine at what?
I didn't hear anything about that, mate. And I heard you say it, so I've been searching around on various websites to see if I can find more detail, but I haven't got anything on that at all. I've heard that the UN has discarded the Russian claims that they are withdrawing, so it seems like conflict is still on. But that's pretty much as far as I've got. I mean, the nervousness is still there. That's the key here, isn't it? So building into positions seems wise. I'll go short again up the top here if it does break through. I just think that we should probably be looking at protection more than anything else. See the price of gold. I mean, gold has surged recently. So we know we're in this nervous kind of feeling of everything. Then you get the inflation kind of narrative on top of that. Markets just look like they are more weighted to the downside, in my opinion, right now. So the money looks like it could well be onto the downside.
Yes, we're seeing that. As you say, gold, the S&P's come down and coming down. The yen, surprisingly for me, has started to go and then come back. I don't quite follow that one, but it is what it is. I think that's going to provide an opportunity to get in again, frankly.
I think I agree with you, mate. I think the thing is, there's no absolute information just yet. So the bulls are still willing to buy things up. Maybe they're trying to buy things up to kind of push the market higher so they can get out. Who knows? But it's just too uncertain. And I think when things are uncertain, you've really got two choices. You start clearing out of positions, which means the market will probably push down, or you do nothing and just wait. But buying, I'm not sure I'd encourage any buying when there's so much uncertainty. Of, something as huge as war. It's just with such huge nations, So we know what effect that can have on the market. So as I say, the order of the day is look for some shorts to me.
Yeah, gold has put on what this week so far? $35-40. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and it looks like it might continue as well. We got the Fed decision coming up in the Fed rate hike is starting in about 2-3 weeks. So you'd expect gold to probably hold around about the 1860 level, and people probably would continue to come in at that point, I would have thought.
What about oil, mate?
Well,
I mean, it's come off a bit, I think, hasn't it?
It has come off a bit, yeah. Looks like a bit of light relief though, because I can't see again. Everything points to higher oil. Yeah, everything points to higher oil. Even who knows where it's going to go, but I don't think it's hit its peak yet. So anything that comes down, just like you were saying with the yen, I think you're probably looking to swallow up an opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, my eyes lit up when I saw that this morning. Those nice bars on the yen pairs. Yeah, and I thought, hello, here's the invitation.
Absolutely.
I accepted it, but it just hasn't kicked.
No, well, I don't. I think it might be one of those that it might not kick until it kicks. It's one of those that you don't know what the trigger is going to be. But I think, generally speaking, overall direction looks pretty negative. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm thinking we're in a tight range. We've got caught in a range. Trying to time the downside is going to be tricky. But the fact that it will go down, I think, is pretty evident to me.
Yes, I think so. Trading, of course, becomes very difficult under those circumstances because it becomes a matter of, okay, you've got a directional bias, but where is your stop loss going? And that is going to be the key. If you're trading with a stop, if you're trading like you are without a stop loss and you're able to cover the positions without any danger, with limited danger, I think that's probably okay. But if you're trading with stop losses, it is a challenge. It really is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because look at the price action today on euro dollar. It's gone down 62 pips, and it's come back exactly to where it opened today.
Yeah.
That's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those, make a decision and walk away. Or you could always increase your time frame. That's the one way you could play it with a stop loss. I think just increase your time frame because you might need to give this time just to breathe. Give the whole thing some time to breathe.
Yeah, well, I do that, but I haven't got a weekly trade on, but I've certainly got daily trade on.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to go to the monthly again. I don't know. We'll see. But the structures seem intact.
The structures are intact. That's exactly. The market is not doing what the news and the headlines are suggesting it should do at this stage. So as I say, you've got two ways to play it. You get in really calm and reduce positions, or you don't do anything. There's nothing wrong with not doing anything.
And that's probably the favoured way at the moment until it maybe reaches the top of your, if you're looking to go short, maybe it reaches the top of your structure and even pokes through it, let it poke through it and catch it on the way back.
Yeah, I think to find the extremes would probably be wise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what can we trade? I've got a few things to look at, if you like.
You got a few things to look at? Okay, cool. Let's do that, mate.
Yeah, I was starting to talk about choice that were on option this morning. All the same trade. Every single one was the same trade. And I chose this one because of, as I say, the potential structural breakdown and the lower high. It was just a clear, okay, thank you very much for setting up for me. But yeah, and I was surprised to see this happen so quickly, but now I know why. I understand why. What I don't understand is why it's suddenly just come straight back. Perhaps that mortar discharging and grenade throwing, whatever it was I don't know, target practice. Perhaps maybe it was just an exercise, and somebody has reported that as an act of aggression. It wasn't against the Russians, as I understand. It was against separatists. So who knows? Buy the rumor, sell the fact, whatever. I don't think there's anything concrete here, but it did set up nicely, and I would be surprised if this high is taken out. I really would be surprised if that high is taken out. My trailing stop may be a little bit tight. I wouldn't mind it being up here somewhere, but I'm not going to move it. We'll see how that pans out. The options, as I said, were pretty clear. Pound Swissy was a potential option. Double top, sell back to the resistance, potential lower high. In fact, I think that's probably still worthy of our attention. Let me have a look at that on a foot. Yuck. Okay, it may not, and it may happen like this. You can see how hard price has tried to get through the weekly pivot so far this week. You can also see, or you should be able to see, if you can't, I'll point it out to you. A pen is what I need. One of those things. Where's that? Pen. I can't see because the chat box is in my way. There, that's better, I think. That go away. No, that goes away. I'll get there. Righto, draw with that. Don't know what color I've got. As I say, you can see here, terrible color.
Oh, sorry, Mike. I am here. I'm still currently away, so I'm moving around somebody else's house trying to find some quiet.
Trying to find the light switch.
No, it's all good. But yeah, I am still here. So let's see what you got here. So pound Swiss.
All good. Yeah, look, it's pretty clear that this level is holding and has done all week. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 attempts to get through that level. Now, there'll be people that will say to you, it's going to break because it just can't keep doing that without going through that. Look, if you have a look at this thing, then have a look at this thing. You could make a case for that. But structures or market structures aren't necessarily going to do exactly what you expect them to do.
No.
That's a false break. That's a false break. Now, if I see that again, price come up here, back underneath and retest there, that's another false break. But the problem now is, where is the support level? Well, it's too close now to trade. So that's the problem you've got. So you've either got to let it break, retest and enter there, or break this way and retest and enter there. So it's now too tough to trade, in my humble opinion, because we just don't know which way that's going to break. Structures break, but they don't break in the same direction all the time. And look, I don't know who does the stats for these things and if they're actually current, but people will tell you that an ascending triangle will break to the high side 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Who said?
I mean, this is the thing. I mean,
where are the stats? Who gave us the last lot of stats on that?
Yeah.
That somebody wrote that in a book probably 40 years ago.
Well, I think it was Edwards and McGee have come up with a lot of the statistics on a lot of different technical patterns. And as you say, like we're talking like 20, 30 years ago that this was written, you know, the different editions of it were written. So what's the statistics now? And unless you've done your own, you can't, how can you possibly rely on, you know, and also they were, firstly, they were trading probably charts that they were generating, well, certainly not from software like this. Secondly, there was less education then. So you know, obviously sort of people didn't know what these patterns were, so they can counter trade them in some respects. But you know, thirdly, that the stuff they were trading might have been soybean or corn, or you know, this the markets are very different, aren't they?
Completely and absolutely different story altogether. Now I've got two scenarios here, both telling me that as a slingshot trader, I can trade long if this candle closes maybe down here somewhere, and I can trade short if the candle was to close where it was, because I've got exactly the same scenario on the bottom side. So low test bar, low test bar, low test bar, as I've got on the high side, high test bar, high test bar, potential high test bar. So in that circumstance, you now have to know your system, you know, inside out, because that's a structure and a candle pattern that I could trade long. Excuse me, I'll turn my phone off. And it's also exactly the same that I can trade short. But can you trade either at this point in time with any certainty? And I'd say the answer is no, you can't, because you can't trade into this resistance level, number one, at here. The reward to risk is ridiculous. Yeah. Going the opposite direction, you could probably take that low on and into there, but again, it's really, really tough. You've got a support level directly below you. So although you meet the criteria in many, many regards, you've got to go outside of that and look at the context into which you're trading, and again look at the market sentiment, which is crazy. It's all over the place. It's in caution mode, if you like.
Yeah. Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you've got the Swissy that would suggest, you know, a bit of risk off, and you've got the Great British Pound, which is going through this hike cycle, and you know the Swiss National Bank do not want to take part in a hiking cycle anywhere near as aggressive as the Fed and the Bank of England. So actually, you could make a case for either of these.
And the BOJ have come out, was it yesterday, I think, and said they've got no intention of raising interest rates.
No, mate. No. Well, do you know what? They're not only are they not going to raise interest rates, they are now controlling the yield curve. So they're really getting involved in how their currency is going to fluctuate, you know, more so than many others. So yeah, you know, this is where you kind of go back to it again. You know, and I guess the point you're making is, okay, yes, you'd buy the yen if you're starting to worry about the conflict in Ukraine, but why would you bother buying the yen when actually their yield curve control is going to suggest that they are going to be trying to devalue that currency rather than letting it go anywhere near higher?
Yeah, I actually didn't. It's a massive point, and now that I've actually said it myself, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
but I actually didn't take that into consideration when I entered that trade this morning, which is kind of interesting. But it does show you right now, in my humble opinion, that we're not in a technical scenario by any stretch. You know, the market is very much poised on a knife edge and ready to go either way, frankly. And I see this in the pivots are telling me that the pivots are very, very close together on most of the pairs, currency-wise. I've no idea.
Do you know?
The other
interesting. You've got the pound Swissy there. I mean, the FTSE is exactly the same, but the pivots are flipped. Within a few pips, you've got the daily pivot and the monthly pivot, the weekly pivot, just right on top. You know, the daily pivot is right on top of the monthly pivot.
That tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
And it just means caution. Just be careful.
Yes. Yeah. Probably take.
If you've got a setup that's absolutely, you know, outstanding, like I thought I had this morning, then of course take the trade, but reduce your risk and be prepared to take profit quickly. I think that's a key factor as well. Yeah.
A few different ways to trade it, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on your risk appetite as well. You know, it all comes down to that at the end of the day. If you've got a healthy risk appetite, which I don't, maybe I did 40 years ago, but I don't these days. I would simply go, for instance, on Aussie yen, which is, as far as currencies are concerned, the number one indicator of market sentiment.
Yeah.
I would probably put stop loss either here or here and just enter the market at market and sell it.
Yeah.
Because I think
nothing so far this
happen.
morning is telling me that we should be risk on. Nothing. In fact, everything is suggesting we should be risk off.
Yep.
From what I can see.
Well, so that doesn't make such a bad lot of sense. But I don't have that appetite for risk. I'd much rather trade what I can actually see physically in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't see that. But give me this. Give me a break here and then a return underneath that trend line. Different story.
Yeah.
Because then I've got a reason to think that price ain't going up there anytime soon. And that gives me an entry. So again, another way to play it would be make sure you do have your stops very, very loose. Tight stops in this situation is not a good idea.
Yes. Yeah. Loose stops and take profit early, which sounds counterproductive, but I think that might be the way forward with the current scenario.
Yeah, look, it messes with your reward. There's no question. It does mess with your reward to risk. But if you want to trade the markets at the moment, if you've got a normal risk appetite, which suggests you don't really want to lose money ad hoc, I think that's the way to go. Except that the market is not what you want it to be at the moment, and it's not going to give you 4 to 5 to 1 without risk. It could give you 10 to 1 if you time it right. There's no question. If this market, or if something does happen in Ukraine, it could give you 10, it could give you 15, it could give you 20 to 1, and that's, I guess, the attraction of trading right now. If you get your stops in the right place and you time it right, you can win a mozza.
The money you would have made through Brexit if you'd had the right approach, and this potentially is this kind of environment, isn't it? Where if out and out panic all of a sudden starts to wash over the market, then the money will be very, very quickly made. But yeah, you got to be careful because spreads are just going to go mad.
Yeah, look, we're not here for what happens today or next week. We're here to make a good living out of trading. So it doesn't really matter what happens in the next few days to us, unless, of course, we go nuts and lose a truckload of money. That's going to affect you. That's going to affect your bank account. It's going to affect the way you think about everything. So I would recommend that doesn't happen, frankly.
Yeah, very wise, mate. Well, I mean, have we got any more to look through, mate?
Oh, look, there's a few things you can look at. Whether I'm willing to trade them or not is another story. Let's have a look at the euro. The euro today is untradeable, in my humble opinion, because that opened here, went to there, DS to a heartbeat, back to entry. Back to where we started the day. How can you trade that? Because you know what caused that.
Yeah.
But why is it come back here? Why has that happened? I
suppose this is the other thing, isn't it? I mean, social media may well be kind of like making this thing even more difficult because people can effectively post whatever. And you don't know which story now to believe. How do you get stories verified,
Yes, what's true. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the story of grenades, mortars could be absolute BS.
It could be, because the thing is, we know what times of conflict end up providing, and that is lots and lots of what's the words? I mean, we've always had it when one enemy discards the other enemy and says, what's it called?
Propaganda.
Was it called? Propaganda? Right, exactly. Propaganda. So propaganda's existed from the start of time. So now you've got social media involved. It's just going to probably accentuate that particular issue.
Yeah, and it happens faster. So the markets will move faster. Before it was by carrier pigeon, now it's by the internet. So I think what we're actually saying is we're in a market where you have to exercise a whole lot of caution.
Yeah. That really is case in point right there. That V-shaped recovery over the course of a very small period of time.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours tops, and it's gone from where we started the day to where we are now, exactly the same price.
Yeah,
which is 20 pips above my all-time favorite, right? So there's no actually. Let me have a look at that. How far have we moved from there? Gee whiz, how did I get a mess on the chart like that? That must be the ski jump, that one. Been watching the Winter Olympics?
No, mate, I haven't seen any Winter Olympics. Not that I'm not interested. I love the Olympics, but I've been kind of otherwise engaged. It's half term over here, so
right, okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what time is on. What time is on over here? I'm not up to date with any of it.
Oh, it's on all day here, so.
Oh, okay.
On the telly. 113.60. How far have we moved from 113.60 in the last month or so? 113.60 is there. Yeah, I don't know if it's the mean, but you can see that it's still relevant. The price still reacts off it. And we're kind of in the middle of it right now at the moment. It's absolutely mid our broadening pattern, which to me is the pattern to trade on euro dollar at the moment. I see that as the market structure, and that's exactly what's happening.
The market is on the move. The FTSE trade that I'm in is in profit, and if it closes and it's in profit, I'll probably cancel the top order because I've done my job for the day. And I don't know if anybody managed to get any of the FTSE, but it's just putting quite a big old move. I'll quickly show you the chart here.
Yeah, sure.
It's just sliding now, just starting to slide down. But as I say, messaging looks pretty weak here, and we can see that the market's coming down now. I'm pretty close to target, but I don't see why this shouldn't be target. As you said, this could really collapse. We could get a really big move, but I'm sticking with my approach, trying to take out a first contact. So this to me looks like first contact. So that's where I'm coming out. And if this is to happen, this is I put this position in early this morning, then I'll remove this order because I would have done my job, as I say, for the day. If anybody else managed to get in somewhere around here, then trade it as you will. And I hope I managed to guide some people in, but it looks like, if this may well be, this is a possibility. Too much in the way, just too much in the way. But it looks like we're going to make some money this morning anyway.
Yeah, the euro versus the yen is also doing the same thing. So the market has gone risk off in the last few minutes.
Yeah, something's doing, mate. Something's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how fast. It's one of those, isn't it? Not being a party to what's just happened. You can see there's a bit of movement. I mean, if there's a big problem here, then there's a chance that I should probably tidy that up. There's a chance that this could really collapse if say we're not listening to the news. If anybody else has heard the news, if there's something going on.
Well, we actually are listening to the news, watching your chart, because if there is something going on, that will disappear.
Yeah.
They'll go off the bottom of the chart. If there's not, then really this is just the market doing its thing.
Yes, I'm sure. There's a few announcements later. I'm just double checking. There's nothing due today, and that's tomorrow.
Yeah, something. Yeah, you're right. Gary, gold's going nuts again.
Yeah, it's not there. So something's going on. If gold's going nuts again, and when we're seeing the FTSE coming down here, then let's have a quick look at gold. Yeah, pop to the upside. Look at that. Where is it? There's gold. Something's happened, isn't it, mate? Something's been announced.
Yep.
I'm guessing the same with silver. These are going to be difficult to get in. You know, we talked about this with George. Difficult to get in when you're sort of like up here, because this is where it starts to get, you know, volatility could really sort of drive things in either direction. And actually the FTSE's right back to where it started pretty much. So it's just a huge concern right now. Difficult markets, actually, very difficult.
It's tough to trade. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Paul L, thanks, mate. Yes, gold did just pop up. We're having a look at it now, as you can hear. It's hard to say, because if something concrete does happen, these charts will move very, very fast and quite dramatically. So it looked as though it had started. It looked as though it had started earlier today as well. And then the market pulled back off. Don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I'm just having
But I think the one thing we can say with pretty much certainty is that technically I'd be very cautious, because when we're under the influence, if you like, of something that isn't technical. I think we can say that with relative certainty.
Yeah. I'd agree. Yeah. Well, if there's nothing else to look at, mate, do you want to get going with a quiz?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's worth speculating on the positions technically. So, yep, let's answer some questions.
Okay.
Hey, John.
How you doing? Sorry about last week.
QM.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Ash and I were okay, but your audience was absolutely flabbergasted.
Yeah,
with the bad questions they were asked.
Yeah, it was like my first live gig with a group for nearly 2 years.
So, amazing, mate. How did it go?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, with 2 nights. The drummer was promoting his book, and then I had a recording session at the weekend. It was a fundraiser yesterday, so it's all come at once. But now we're back. What's that? I don't know what variant is at the minute. Whatever name you want to pick is floating through the community. We're up to about 30,000 a day. So, you know, what can you do?
Yeah,
mate. Just before you go, there is a question from Paul in the in YouTube. Which currencies to avoid at this time? Good question. I would believe the answer to that would be the ones that are going to be most volatile. And that would be the risk-off currencies, but this could work the other way too. If you can get the timing right, these currencies will also move the farthest, if you like. Swissy and yen are what are considered to be the risk-off currencies, right? So they're probably going to be the most volatile at this moment as the market sorts itself out. Are we risk on? Are we risk off? So that's why we're seeing the yen pairs and the Swiss pairs do a little bit of this sort of stuff. The ones that are risk on well, there's probably more, but Aussie, CAD, Kiwi are considered to be risk on currencies. So anything that involves those 5 currencies are probably going to be the hardest to trade. Go outside of those and trade miners, or even avoid trading against the dollar, I think, at the moment, because traditionally it's a risk-off currency. What I would be concentrating on if you want to trade something that's not going to be as volatile would be something like anything that doesn't involve any of those 6 currencies. Now, that's going to be tough because I've just mentioned the US dollar. So you could probably trade 2 risk-on currencies, like the Aussie versus the Kiwi, like the Aussie versus the CAD, like the CAD versus the Kiwi. Those sort of things that exclude the others that I just mentioned. I think if you want to trade with relative safety, then I'd be going with those. Anything to add to that, Ash? I can't hear you, mate. You're muted.
Oh, it's okay. I'll just send you a message.
Oh, okay.
I'll just send you a message.
Yeah, no drama at all. All good.
All right, buddy. Nice one. Yeah, I'll be. But I'm leaving in about 10 minutes. Well, half an hour or so. So Monday we'll
Shoot
be
off,
back.
bud.
Yeah.
All right, have a great weekend. We'll see you when you're back home, mate.
Thanks, dude. All right, see you later. See you guys. Thanks, John. See you next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, Paul. All right, you got that. Excellent. Very good. There's Ash. See you, mate. Probably need to take the screen from him. John, are you able to do that at this point?
Yeah, I got that. I got the screen.
Oh,
sorry. Was I supposed to change?
you're good. I thought I just crashed everything, but I didn't.
No. You said something. I thought, oh, I got it wrong. Oh, yeah. Quite a topical quiz this week, I think. Some of these questions might be a bit tricky, but if people get the answers to them, they'll probably have a little more insight into what you've just been discussing from a political, historical perspective.
Yeah, look, you can't ignore it, can you? At the end of the day,
no, you can't. Not really. It's not. It's just what it is. Which of these is the odd one out? These are obviously acronyms for some institutions around the world, but one of them is an odd one out. I got the Fed in there. Okay. NATO.
It's NATO.
NATO is the odd one out.
What are the others?
Bank of International Settlements. Obviously, the Fed is the US, and then the last one is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
Was the B part there? I thought it might be bank.
Yeah, I
got it wrong.
I sort of had to get it right. This is a slight trick question, but is
Reg and Paul got it right anyway. All good.
Well, there we are then. So,
which one of these countries was not part of the USSR?
Which one of these countries was not part of the USSR? Latvia, the Ukraine, Estonia, and East Germany was not part of the Soviet Union. Oh, yes, Gary's on the money.
Who is that USSR anyway?
It's the Union of Socialist Republics.
Republic squared.
Yeah. It was part of my studies as on my former job a long time ago. East Germany was part of the Warsaw Pact.
Okay, Reg is 2 out of 2. Paul L's 2 out of 2.
As you can see, it's got a topical theme. It's got a topical theme today. What is the collective name of the natural gas pipeline or pipelines running from Russia to Germany? Nordvent, Nord Stream, Gazprom, or Nord Branch?
I don't know.
I know.
I'm going to go with something that makes sense to me. I'm only sending my answers to Reg. That's a bit silly. Let me try again.
Oh, Jeff, you're on the money.
Oh, I'm back on the team.
You're back in. Nord Stream is that one. Gazprom own it. The other two are just made up.
Very good.
Okay, which one of these countries left then rejoined NATO? That's the.
Ooh,
I
think it was.
This caused a lot of aggro in the 60s. Gary he's right on the money. Gary should be sat down at one of these tables sorting stuff out.
Where's Gary? Is he sending answers to you?
I can see. Oh, it's Zoom, isn't it? It's doing it. I can see people's answers. France.
I'm off the team again.
This stems back to the Second World War and the way that they treated Charles de Gaulle. France didn't want to give them control of their nuclear deterrent, so they're back in, but they have command of their own nuclear weapons. Not quite sure why you'd want that, but hey ho. Here we go.
You're sending your answers to me as well. You can change that. I'm talking to Raj. He's sending his answers to me, not everybody.
Which of the following is not a member of OPEC? And these guys are definitely front and center at the minute. Yeah. Fun fact, I did not realize that Russia is the second largest producer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they make a big difference.
Yeah.
But would they be a member of any organization? No.
There is probably a good reason for that. One of the questions is coming up, and again, which president is the odd one out?
Ooh.
This again is
so.
One of these is the odd one out. Three of them have something in common.
I'm assuming it's their political persuasion, but I could be wrong.
Obviously, Biden is the guy currently in the gig.
Trying to think of the reason. One's a peanut farm.
This is sort of connected.
Glasses. No, I'm going to go with Jolly Jimmy.
Yeah, this might. Yeah,
I'm going to Raj again instead of everyone else. My God, I hate Skype for this.
It's not. Anybody? I think I've nailed everybody. This is really bad. Biden.
Okay, why?
George Bush served in the military, Second World War. Carter served in Vietnam. Korea. And
didn't know the link.
Yeah, I just thought it was because obviously Biden's sons have served in the military.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the man of the moment.
Scary too.
It is. What did Vladimir Putin do after graduating? He graduated 75 with law. Which one?
Played ice hockey. Joined the Navy.
Yes, probably with somebody's. He did one of these things.
When in doubt, answer.
He did one of these things, and he spent 16 years doing it. Oh, everybody's got this one. Bang. Yes. This will explain an awful lot of what's going on at the minute. This guy is old school.
Yep. Well,
that's all I've got today. I was a bit delayed doing some other stuff.
I think Paul L's got 100%.
Wow.
He's on YouTube.
Me,
Big pardon?
Oh, right. Nice. For me, it's just like, it's like being back in my first job after leaving school. Right at the minute, it's like being back in my first job, but we didn't have social media. So, this is all.
You mean as in writing quiz questions?
As in, no, I was in the military. I was in West Germany. I was part of the British Army of the Rhine. I gave it. Oh, we're still doing the same thing, and I think I mentioned, was it 2 weeks ago, the Ukraine was part of the USSR. It wasn't part of the Warsaw Pact. It's quite. It's got a lot of attachment. Putin.
What's going to happen, John?
What's going to happen? Trading wise, I'm safe in.
No, I meant fracas wise. Are we going to have a war? We're not going to have a war.
I think if we do, just from personal experience, there are some generals on both sides that would be itching to have a go. Unfortunately, that's just a personal opinion, and I don't. I don't know. It's very difficult to get inside the minds of these people, and the problem with coming from a military background, it's not the people who. It's not Putin or Biden that
as
will
their
cause
advisors.
The advisors, but down on the ground, it'll only be a mistake by somebody who is trigger happy that might kick it off. So in the
Oh,
end,
you mean like F troop?
It could be just somebody just gets really nervous and just.
F troop, right?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Well, it goes something like this: the end of the Civil War was near when, quite accidentally,
yes,
a hero who sneezed abruptly seized retreat and returned to victory. He sneezed, and his cutlass said "charge."
Yeah. So
I think I've said this before. If you haven't watched F Troop, find it somewhere.
But it could be something like that. And that's probably what might happen. I don't know. I wouldn't.
Sure. No, I think it's a little bit more calculated than that, isn't
it? The mistakes that can be made on the front line can get out of control really quick. It depends on the command and control of both sides.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's just I'm sat here safe and sound. I'm too old. I can't serve anymore, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. You can talk about this forever and a day, but I wonder what happens if we do have the unthinkable, and we have a full scale escalation, aka WW3. Is that short, sharp, and deadly?
And they reach. It depends who. I was part of NATO, so that sort of doctrine. So it depended on who reached for the buttons first. I don't think anybody's that. What's the word? They've got too many on either side, haven't they? Still, they've got too many nuclear weapons on either side. So if anybody's going to reach for the buttons, there's no winner in that scenario. I don't
know. And I wonder if the Russians and the North Koreans and Chinese
everybody now will
have the protocols of actually pressing that button.
Yeah, they'll be looking to see what the US does. They'll be looking to, and I don't know. I mean, America have still got, I don't know, so many aircraft carriers. They've still got all for me, just from my background as a military guy from a long time ago, a musician, I'm fascinated as to why they might do this, because both armies are set up for land wars against over long plains.
Interesting, eh?
And the Ukraine is like that. So it's I'm like you. I've watched currencies go up and down. I'm safe in the market on New Zealand CAD. I've been in it for 2 weeks, so a very small position, moving up. So I've moved.
You short Kiwi CAD, long Kiwi?
I'm long.
Yep.
And I've moved everything.
So you don't want war then?
No.
You definitely don't want war.
I'm not in any way to want that, but I'm going to move my I can move my stops so I can protect my small profit, so that's not so bad. And then I've got a short in on the NASDAQ.
Aha, you're ready for war in one circumstance and you're not ready for war in the other. Interesting. That's a good hedge. I like it.
Yeah, but that's the benefit of almost most of my 2 years, almost 2 years, has been watching this show. So you learn from everything. Well, I do. I try. So,
we hope so. That's why we're here. I mean, we're not here just for Ash and I to ramble on to each other. We thought when we started this, that it would be beneficial not only for ourselves. We can do this by ourselves every day of the week, no problem. But we thought by inviting other people into the room that we could learn from them as well, and what their thoughts were, how they trade, go through the whole thing. So, if we all learn, how can we lose? Doesn't cost a thing. Simple as that. All right, time to move on. We've got about 10 minutes or so left. I don't know that there's much more I can give you in terms of what I'm willing to trade, but there are a few things that I continue to look at. Paul, could be worse than COVID. It could be worse than COVID, totally. Who knows whether COVID's under control yet? My God, there's always something happening, isn't there? Always something happening. Let me go to dollar Swissy. Reason, we spoke about dollar Swissy, and I traded dollar Swissy. When was it? Last week? Yes, last week. Oh no, this week, Monday. We traded on a 4-hour chart. And I'm going to. This is really for slingshot traders because it's a slingshot trade. I don't know if anybody was in the room when Shukri was with us a few months ago, and he knows my trading system, and he discussed with me that there were a few times that the slingshot, which was looking for a TP1 at the low of that candle there, right, just before the monthly pivot. So we ended on this bar here. And we didn't hit the monthly, we didn't hit the monthly pivot, but we didn't hit TP1 by about 1 pip or 1 point something pips. So I've got a rule that says if that happens, I move my stop loss to entry instantly just to prevent something like that happening. Now, the interesting part about that is next time round, same entry, you actually get TP1. I mean, the market's so volatile in that section that's all you would get. You would only get a TP1, but you got it. And that's the whole point. I've got a test group that I'm starting in, probably, I'd like to start at 1st of March, but there's a few things that have to happen. We're going to test that theory that we don't enter on the first attempt. We wait for the retracement and enter on the second attempt. And when Shukri was trading that for me, he got 100% using that method over about 3 months and about 20 odd trades. So worth pursuing, and we're going to test that. We're going to forward test that based on probably 4 or 5 different scenarios of how to trade it conservatively, aggressively, et cetera, where we put our stops, where we take our profits, all those sorts of things. So I'll be reporting on that as time goes by. But the reason I wanted to look at this is how the heck, and I touched on it earlier, in a volatile market like this, you can see the entry, but where do you put your stop? And had we put our stop here, here, or here, then we make our money rather than tight stop that we normally use, right? And that was my point earlier. If you're trading in a volatile market, your stop in your inverted commas normal place is not necessarily going to keep you in the trade. So think about where you're putting your stops at the moment. And if it means going to the next high or the ultimate high in that range, if you like, then maybe that's worth thinking about. Yes, of course, it does reduce your reward, as I said before, but it keeps you in the trade, and who knows, this could disappear. So think about that. I think that's worthy of your thoughts. The rest are very much, as I said before, the same. I don't know, I just lost that chart. Pound Swissy disappeared. Oh, okay. Anyway, the rule of trade, if you're trading against the yen or with the yen, Swissy, or against the Swissy, risk on currency, Aussie versus the Swissy, is going to be absolutely polarizing if there is war, or if there's a shot fired in anger. This will disappear off the bottom of the chart very quickly. But again, if you're of the opinion that we are going to have war, where the hell are you going to put your stop loss? If you enter the market now on the supposition that somebody's going to fire a shot, and if that's the case, is your stop loss safe here? Or do you have to go a bit wider and get above the trend line? That's the challenge that you've got, really. And I think it's a very, very difficult one. So, no matter what I say at the moment, I can't begin to even think what is likely to happen in the geopolitical space that we are currently faced with. And until that resolves itself in one way or the other, I think the market is going to be very, very difficult to trade. Like I said, trade your setups if they're there. Think about where you're going to put your stops and get out of the market. We'll get safe in the market as quickly as you possibly can, because you're going to see a lot of this. I'll go back to euro dollar again, because that's a perfect example of what the market can and will do when it's in this mood. Straight down, straight back up. How can you control that? Great if you get in here and take your profit here, which is the whole point. You got to get something in the bank quickly, just in case that happens. Anyway, I could wax on lyrical about exactly the same thing all day long, but you're not going to gain anything more from me at this stage. I'm just going to say the same thing over and over again. So I think I can relieve you of that boredom by wrapping it up. Yes, would you agree, John?
There's not. It's either I'm with you. I've got my stops where I think it's. If it comes to get me, I will be out with a small profit, and that's all I can do. I've just watched the yen just go like this. I thought, okay. So some of the, I'm just watching the news, and this is an example from my past. And there's obviously pre-media days in the 80s. The Russians would do their exercises on their side of the fence, and we'd do ours on our side of the fence. And anybody moving backwards and forwards would automatically cause chaos with us. But those movements were not passed into the markets like this. Now everybody's got a mobile phone and social media, and all of these trading platforms are all connected up by computers, so everything moves around like billiard.
Yeah, news travels fast, and unfortunately, quite a lot of it is unreliable, if not outright bullshit.
Yes, it all is.
Totally. So yeah, where you get the news from is probably important at the moment.
I'm going to get my news from the supermarket. I'm going to go and get my 50% off salads in a minute, and just like, I cannot control what they're going to do. I have learnt that from you. I can't control that.
Absolutely.
So I'll await.
Await your fate.
Yeah, I've got. I'm happy with the position I took a couple of weeks ago. I'm safe in the market. Am I going to put another trade in today? No chance.
That's the number one thing. Get yourself safe in the market as quickly as you can in this environment. And look, frankly, it's all down to luck from there at the moment, because we have got no idea what's going to happen next, frankly. And that's why you need to be safe in the market. You could get a wonderful, wonderful ride. And fingers crossed that happens. I'm in the same boat, John. I'm trading free, but I'm glad of that. I hope that that goes in the right direction.
Yeah, if anybody wants to sort of see what could happen, there's a film called Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
And within that, there's a statement made by two foreign ministers, one from Russia, one from America. And the American goes to the Russian guys and it may be good for you to understand that having your ships and our ships in close proximity could cause an accident where it all starts. And that's the only, not a worry for me, that's the concern. Not these people flying desks. It's inexperienced young people on the front lines. So let's hope that everybody pulls back and it's cool.
Yeah, indeed. In which case, as I said from the outset, if these markets aren't willing to go down or up, depending on which way you're trading or what currency pair or asset class you're trading, if they're not going to go down under the threat of war, then chances are they're probably going to go up a little bit if there is no war. Yeah. So keep that in the back of your mind as well.
Right.
I'm going.
Squire, yeah, I'm off to the bar.
It's wine o'clock. Yes, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks, John, for the quiz and the chat. Everyone else, thank you for your company and for being our trading buddies throughout the week, or Monday and Thursday of it anyway. Look, let's hope there's a little bit more clarity when we come back on Monday and do it all again. And let's hope there's no wars, frankly. We don't need that at all. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye for now.